G'day, Stu from UAVfutures here, and today, well, we're going to be doing a bit of a breakdown as 2019 comes to an end. We're going to be going through my entire flight kit, the stuff I take out to the field, show you how it's set up, and a bit of a run through of everything that I've got that streamlines my FPV experience when I'm out in the field. Because I know for some new pilots out there, you might be carrying all sorts of plastic bags, bits and bobs, you know, when you've got everything, even if you've got a backpack, there's some certain ways that I've been doing things after a couple of years of getting this done, and this is my current setup, so I thought, well, this will make a fun video. Let's go through it together, talk about what we've got and sort of a bit of a review and show you some tips and tricks that I think might help some people out there. So let's do it. First things first, the main part we're going to be talking about is the backpack that I'm going to be using. This is the Real ACC FPV backpack. It's pretty old now. I think I've got two of these things. They're absolutely rock solid. They've lasted me a long time, and I do think that these are the best value bags on the market by far. They're the perfect space. I've taken it overseas a few times. You can throw it in your overhead locker, or, you know, whatever you call those things on the carry-on, and it fits nicely, and it fits everything that I've got as well. So if you're going out there flying, don't make the mistake of getting some of those really big bags, because trust me, I've probably got more stuff than you when I go to the field, and I can still cram it all in here. Now, first things first, let's also take these drones off. These are just some random ones I had on there because I've just been out flying. Look at the motors on this thing, like a 2507. That's kind of ridiculous. And the smooth, not the smooth operator, the Bang God from Catalyst Machine Works, those are going to be coming up. They're less important because the drones I switch out all the time. Here's the backpack. I usually have a little side chair as well that I sit in here, but recently I've been doing a lot of standing up. And then let's kick it over, and what I'll do, this opens at the front and also the back, but we'll open up the back, then I'll take out, you can see everything in here, we'll take it out and we'll put it in the roof cam, and we'll kind of break it all down as well and have a little bit of an overview of each thing. So I wonder if anything's going to fall out when I do this. Might have to hold it up a little bit so you can see. I've got everything in here. We're going to go through all this. We've got some DJI goggles and my radio props, batteries, analog goggles, some camera equipment, some stuff in here, little micro drone. So it does hold quite a bit. It's got heaps of zippers, but let's do it. First things first, what I've got, we'll start at the top of the backpack. I'll sit it like this actually. We'll start at the top of the backpack, then work our way. I just have a bag of props, a whole bunch of different 5-inch props in here depending on what I want to fly around, as well as some little 3 inches and that sort of stuff. Put them in a big Ziploc bag, just makes it a little bit easier, stops them sliding around, all that sort of stuff. If I need to go somewhere, I can just grab these props and you are done. Underneath that, of course, not everybody's going to have this, but I have some DJI FPV goggles. These things absolutely definitely are going to be in my kit all the time, not only because it's awesome to fly around in HD, but there's so many craft coming out now that, you know, half of the things I'm checking out, they all have an inbuilt DJI module or an air unit in them. So I'm not expecting this to be in everybody's flight kit, but of course my DJI goggles are going to be. Underneath that, it looks like I just have a little micro. I was flying around, I'll put some footage at the end. I was chasing Tony in a large plane. We're trying to kind of crash into him. So that is the, what is that? The Bushido 180 UR or something, you know, like that. It's a little HD recorder in there, so we're trying to get some fun footage. That's the one I used in the drone drop, the big DIY thing that Tony was flying around. So put that to the side, and then one of the stars of the show, which I really do like in here, is the Jumper T16 radio. Now this thing, I love it because I've got so many drones out there, whether it comes in D8, Fly Sky, whatever it's coming in, this thing can bind up to it. So that makes my job easier. In the past, when I was using some of the different X-Lights, I'd have to take out 2 radios, and space is a bit of a premium if you're going to be staying to this size of bag. I don't want to take out 2 radios. You don't want to take out 2 radios. So the Jumper T16, you know, just there's a reason why this thing is becoming so popular and kind of the radio of choice, because it's just, it's working really well, and it binds up to everything. Underneath, before we get on to what I really want to, I'm excited to show you about, is the toolkit. And the way I've set that out is we have our battery bag. So this one's from Race Day Quads. It holds all the batteries that I'm going to be using for the day, nice and safe. And I like it, I can just get it, throw it away if something actually gets a bit haywire or something catches on fire, although I've never had that happen. Inside here we've got a couple of different batteries. These ones are probably the ones I've been using the most. So this is the Turnigy Graphenes. That's a 1500 4S. I ended up buying like 30 or 40 of these, and they've still been going strong. They're getting a little bit old now, but that's kind of the battery that I'm using when it comes to 4S rigs. 6S rigs, which I need to buy some new 6S batteries. We have some little, I think these are iFlight batteries, full send, and that's a 1250 milliamp 6S. This one's just too heavy. It doesn't really have the oomph that I like, but I don't really have that much choice when it comes to 6S. On the other end, I've got some China Hobby Line, these Mini Star ones. That's a 70C 6S pack. I think that's 1250 as well, and you can see the size difference, so I'm not too sure what is going on right there when it comes to those two. But look, these batteries, I did have like 6 of them, I think, and I might only have 2 left because they seem to drop a few cells, or they're just a bit... Maybe I've only got 1 left, actually. I think Tony took the last one because it just wasn't working. He's going to pull it apart and turn it into something else. But yeah, these packs, they start off good, but they seem to die relatively quickly. And then I've just got, looks like I've got a couple of little 300 milliamp 3S's for the UR, or whatever it is, UAV, that HD recorder thing. So I'll put that to the side. Underneath that, we have, of course, this is probably going to be in most people's kit, we have our FPV goggles. So take your guesses, what am I going to be using? It is the Sky Zones, but the O2Cs, O2Xs, and this is my goggle of choice because they're 16:9. They fit really, really nicely on my face. I love how quickly you can cycle through the menus, and that's important to me as well because I'm flying different craft all the time with a bunch of different people. Sometimes I don't know what channel it's set on, and it's important, and it saves me a bit of time cycling through the menu. These, along with the jumper radio, make a perfect match for, I guess, FPV heaven because it just works well. I like their design, all that sort of stuff. The antennas on it, we have a little Farview Pagoda FPV antenna. This thing, look, it's years old. It definitely has been working for a long time. No reason to need to upgrade it. And shout out to Cal. I'll see if I can put these little files, or you can search for Thingiverse. There's a tiny little orange TPU mount that he printed out to go over the SMA connector, and that just lets me tighten it down to my goggles a little bit easier, like a little bit of extra torque. And I have this one here. I stole this off Trappy, so a Team Black Sheep little patch right there, and yeah, I stole that off Trappy's flight kit when we're in the back of a taxi. So shout out to him for letting me take that home as a cool little souvenir. So I'll put these goggles to the side. Underneath that, this is some remnants. I always have a spare power cable for powering my goggles, and that just charges off an XT60. That's why I like the Sky Zones too, because you can plug them off like a 2, 3, 4, 5S. They take a huge range of voltages, not like some of your older Fat Sharks, which could only take a 2S. Then I have, look, this isn't meant to be in here, but this is a little JR module that goes in the back of your X-Lite, and this is so I could get it to work with my D8 quads and stuff like that. I didn't really have any luck with that, so I can probably leave that out of my kit. Thank you. And then you're gonna have to forgive me all the grass and dirt that's in here. So next we have, of course, I'm still using an old, I think it's a GoPro 5 or GoPro 4 for my field recording. I put that inside this filming rig. This is probably what you see all the time. And it does have a little microphone that clips on the top as well, but that's what you're listening to right now behind the camera. And yeah, so that simply goes in there. This is what Jono's probably, you plug it in, away you go, do your recording in the field. And then in the main part of the bag, oh, and it's got a protective case around it too, which has really, I've taken the lens off. That handles it pretty well. My phone's going off, bear with me. Wonder if that's someone from FPV. What's going on, Cal? I'm just in the middle of filming a video, brother. Oh, you're ringing me on WhatsApp. So, yeah, there we go. There's Cal doing some stuff, interrupting my video. Anyway, back to it. So yeah, so you can see emptying this out. There's a few zippers and stuff in here, but I don't have anything in this front shell of the bag, so that's all done. These parts can all come out as well, so if you need to adjust some of these and all those little lengths, I've got mine set up perfectly so it can hold everything. Then it looks like I've got a zip tie in here as well, but flipping it over, this is where I think some of the stars of the show are too when it comes to the way I've set out my toolkit. But in the top, I just have some extra Velcro straps because you'd be amazed how many times these things can save you bacon out in the field. And then let me open this part up here. And I've got some spare antennas. I've got some little spare antennas. I think that's a Rush antenna, and I think there's another little one in there. But if we take this out, I don't think there's anything else in here. If I did have a tablet or something, I'd put it in this front sort of pouch part. I can put this bag to the side, and then this is the toolkit that I've got, and it's mainly the stuff from race day quads, but I've put it back into this sort of I don't know, this holder rather than a little case because I needed a little bit of extra room. But let's go through it. So starting here, we have a spare power cable which can also double as my TS100. So this bad boy is, if you don't have a TS100, fantastic soldering iron, probably one of the most popular ones in the biz, and it's not only for the field, I also use it at home on the bench and stuff as well. So that right there is gold. These get a nice silicone cord that goes with it. I'll link these down below as well. It just makes your soldering so much easier when you can easily manipulate the end. If you've got a really stiff cord like I used to have, I think I threw that somewhere out of frustration one time. Then, of course, we've got the little race day quads driver set, but you can pick these up anywhere. We've got a 1.5mm. We have a little Phillips head driver. right here, so we'll put that one to the side. Then we've got my prop tool, which is at the front, which is important because that means I can open my bag, pull it out, and it's right at the top. So we've got our prop tool. I've got my Speedy Bee USB flight controller, which helps me configure Betaflight in the field, but that only works when my phone decides to work. So my phone is absolutely rubbish. I need to upgrade it, absolutely. I've got a little battery checker, which is also a little servo checker and that stuff, so I can put that one to the side. Zip ties, which are essential the way I've got it here. I've got my little needle nose pliers right here, so we can use those. Then, of course, some little clippers, which we don't use those so much, those wire cutters, but maybe for cutting zip ties or something. Underneath that, we've got two things that I think do work pretty well, and this might be a good little tip. I've got my Team Black Sheep normal 2mm driver, and on the back of that, it is full of a whole bunch of little screws and that sort of stuff. So that's where I keep that nice little plug. If you can get ones where it clips onto the end, that's definitely going to be a cool little place to keep some screws. And I kind of do the same thing here on this one, but it's got some solder in it. So this is my 2.5mm driver, and you can see it's got some little bits of solder in there. I don't know where the end of the plug is on that one. Actually, I ended up taking one of these ones off and sticking it on here. So maybe that's come off in my bag somewhere, but yeah, that's also where I keep some solder. Underneath that, we have a Catalyst Machine Works, one of the Slam Nasty little straps. You might be saying, Stuart, what's that bangle for? What's that bracelet? And this lets me, I guess, get some grip on some of those motors. If you've got a 3-inch motor or something, you need to really turn it with your prop tool. This stops it slipping in your hand, so that's nice and handy. And then, I guess, what do we got? Some little bits of heat shrink. And I thought there was more heat shrink, but maybe that's gone somewhere as well. Maybe I've taken that out and used it. But overall, that's it for my tools as well. So anyway, what do you guys think? What do you carry in your toolkit? What would you change? The only thing that sometimes I put in here is also my DJI radio if the drone that I'm flying requires it. And that sometimes means I might take my batteries out and put that radio in there in that place. But that's probably it. When I go flying, that's my entire kit. So, and that's how I set it out. I think it's really important for everything has its place. It makes your flight experience so much easier. Don't go to the flight field with shopping bags and all that sort of stuff because you're probably going to lose something. And it's happened to me in the past where you get home and you think, man, that day, that would have been great, but I didn't have that connector or that battery or something. And then you go, oh, actually it was in my bag, or I did have one in the boot of my car. It's just nicer if everything has its place and you set up and organized. You don't have to have that problem of, oh man, I could have done it, but I just forgot where it was. So anyway, drop your comments down below. What did you think about this kit? What do you use in your kit? I would love to know. On that, subscribe for more FPV related content, and as always, happy flying. Now time to pack this back into the bag.